What do 8 bags of concrete mix, a cooler full of 30-pound sea bass, and a 10-inch compound miter saw have in common? They're all things that are easier to load in and out of the bed of the new F-150. Thanks to its new available Pro Access tailgate that's also a swing gate. The new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Available starting early 2024. Pro Access tailgate available starting spring 2024. Cargo and load capacity limited by weight and weight distribution.
What makes a Carnival cruise fun? That's up to you. Maybe it's a ride on boat, a roller coaster at sea, or a deep tissue massage at the spa. Creole-inspired cuisine at Emerald's Bistro to laid-back bites at Guy's Burger Joint. Excursions that take you from jungle adventures to beach stays at Mahogany Bay and sunsets from the top deck. Long story short, no one does fun like Carnival. Carnival, choose fun.
Ships Registry, Bahamas, Panama.
When it comes to teaching kids and teens about money, practice makes perfect. That's where Greenlight comes in. With a debit card and money app of their own, kids learn to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest. Parents send instant money transfers, create custom chores, and automate allowance, while kids track their spending, set savings goals, and practice money skills they can use today and for life. Get 1 month free when you sign up at greenlight.com/podcast.
It was almost overwhelming to like take it all in and see like the culture, see the people, see like the disparity, and just like there were poor people, there were people with money. So it's like you see that the world is overall like the same in terms of like there are poor people everywhere, but it was overwhelming in a good way. It was like, this is so dope. Like I'm in, like I had to remind myself every morning. It was like, bruh, we're in Africa.
Hey, welcome to Travel Tuesday Happy Hour, where we interview dope people doing dope things from around the world. And we are in season 4. Season 4 is Voyage 22. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, click that notification bell so you guys know when new episodes drop. And Voyage 22 is so important to me because that's when we got married. We invited 50 plus of our friends and family to really enjoy Marrakesh, Morocco with us. And one of our guests is, tell us who you are and what you do.
I am Nelson Tavares. I spent the last 6 to 7 years in finance, and now I recently transitioned right after the wedding, actually, into consulting.
Okay. And one of the things that a lot of people kind of get lost with you, right, is like, where are you from?
Like on the planet?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I am originally from Dominican Republic, like born. I moved to the United States when I was 3.5.
Okay.
And then I grew up in New York, in the Bronx to be specific.
The Boogie Dome Bronx.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So, but after that, it's just I've been bouncing around. So I spent like 5 years living in Philly, the last 3 years living in Delaware, and now I'm back in New York, but I'm going to take my talents overseas pretty soon.
Okay. And what got you into travel? So, like, was that migration your first trip you remembered, or
actually, yeah, like so it's weird and oddly enough, immigrating to the U.S. was like my first trip, if you want to call it that. But for the most part, I traveled a lot in the U.S.
Okay.
Thanks to the bruhs.
Okay.
What is the bruhs? Stop it. Because of road tripping. Okay. So I've seen a lot of the US just based off of going to different conferences, the Clave. So that was it. But then it's like, all right, America's only but so big. Right. It is a big country and there's a lot to see, but the world is bigger.
Right.
And in 2018 or 19, my job sent me to, there's no free promo here. My job where I was working sent me to the Philippines for 2 weeks. And that was such a dope experience that I was like, all right, I got to see more of this big blue marble. Like, I need to get out more.
Now, and I'm going to kind of step a little back just because I know you, just to give people a little context, right? So up until 2018, right? you were not American citizen.
I was not. So yeah,
right?
I didn't.
So,
I got my green card in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So that 2015 was the first time I went back home to Dominican Republic in like 28 years. So that was big for me to go home and spend Christmas, which is a big deal in Dominican. I mean, back home, Christmas is a very big deal. So to go home for the first time in that long was amazing. I did my first actual international trip when I got my green card. I went to Costa Rica. That was cool. That was a very dope experience, just seeing like how fast food restaurants in other countries have the same stuff we have here, but then they have local stuff in the menu.
They added a little
right. So like you could get rice and beans at KFC and you can get flan at Pizza Hut.
Oh, okay.
So it was interesting. And then it was Costa Rica, back home to Dominican Republic, and then after that, I didn't go anywhere until I went to the Philippines.
Okay, and the Philippines, was that like on a work visa or was that okay?
So, but that was interesting. Like even like just how the work visa worked, because I had the work visa to get into the country, but I couldn't actually start training people until they verified everything after I got there. So I spent 2 days just doing my job over there before I started actually like, all right, you got to do this, you got to do that, and actually training people. Like we were not allowed to do any. I mean, I don't know how hard they were watching us, but.
So now what's that process like getting a work visa to go in another country? Or was it because you weren't a citizen?
I think it was because you needed a work visa, because even people who were U.S. citizens had to go through the same thing. Like when we got there, we had to like check in with an office, fill out paperwork, and give them our passports. And then we didn't get our passports back till like a week later. Oh, wow. And one of the dudes that was on the trip was like super pressed about getting his passport back because we only spent 1 weekend there.
Oh, wow.
And that 1 weekend he wanted to travel, but he needed his passport. So like we gave our passports on Monday, and on Thursday he was like, I gotta get my passport. And I was like, why are you so pressed? And then later on, that's when I figured it out. Even I didn't need a passport to travel, because one thing I forgot was that the Philippines is a chain of islands. It's not one specific place. Gotcha. So like the team at work, that first weekend that 1 weekend that I was there, we took a bus to a boat to another island, and then we stayed at a hotel. Nice. But it was like $40 for 2 rooms for the night, and it came with continental breakfast. Oh. And their continental breakfast was like the local dish. So it's like rice, beans, eggs, and like sausage and toast. So I was like
eating breakfast.
Right.
In the Dominican Republic.
Exactly. So I'm like, oh, I can definitely do this. So we spent one night there, but we were like on the beach. Like it's not like when you go to Mexico, like there's the pool, and then there's like, you got to walk a bit and then get to the beach. It was like the pool, and then where the pool ended was the beach. Oh, nice. So it was love, and the water out there was clear as hell, like super blue, super clear. I'm pretty sure I got like sunburn, but
listen, we melanated folks still need a little sunscreen. So don't forget your sunscreen.
Right, don't forget your sunscreen when you go to these tropical places, because it's not a game, but.
So as far as your citizenship, now you got your American passport.
Oh, I'm official now. I got a blue passport. Talk to me nice. Like I'm going everywhere.
So what was your first trip that you gifted yourself with the passport?
I spent my 33rd birthday in Mexico.
Nice.
And the irony of it is I spent it in the same city Molly from Insecure was getting bent over the balcony on. So it's like I experienced the city, and then I came back, and that next season of Insecure, Molly was there, and I was like, oh, I've been there. And then I was like, oh, but I didn't do that. So I feel like I got to go back.
You got to go back and look, I'm not mad at you.
Right.
So what inspires you to continue to travel?
Just getting out. I think even before traveling internationally, it was like growing up in New York, the biggest thing was like, all right, we're going to go to Times Square. Like you're getting out of your hood. And then as you get older, you go to college. It's like, all right, I'm getting out of my city. I'm going to go experience different cities. And then in college, it was like Miami, Vegas. Like those are like the hot spots. Like, we got to go to Miami for spring break, or, we got to go to Vegas for whatever. And then like, you get a little, as you get a little older, you start like people start throwing in stuff like Coachella or like the Electric Daisy Festival, stuff like that. But
Q Fest back in the day.
I never made it, and it's probably a good thing I didn't. You just start realizing like, the world is a lot bigger than America. And it's like, it's dope to experience the cultures of the world in real time. Because you also start to see how different,
but same.
Right. How different, but same. And more so, I say that like about the food. Like there's certain foods that we know here from certain cultures that don't exist back in the original country. Right. Like Alfredo sauce is not a thing in Italy. That's an American-made thing. Egg foo young is not an American. It's an American thing. It's not a Chinese thing. Like, so just to be able to experience the world and see like what it really is. I mean, don't get me wrong. And you can probably speak to it too. Like when you travel the world, you still deal with discrimination. You still deal with racism.
We'll get to that.
But it's just dope to see it. And then I have family all over the place. Like I have a sister who lives in Italy.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's
and
easy trip.
This past Christmas, right before Christmas, I went to visit my aunt in London. Nice. So that was cool.
So you using that passport?
Oh yeah. I'm getting these stamps. I think the most irritating thing is when they don't put the visa stamp on the very next page. But
so quick question. So do you use, like, for example, let's say you're going to Cuba. Are you going to like the DR, then flying to Cuba and then to do that and using your Dominican passport?
I would have to defer to people who've been there to know how to best go about it. Like,
because you're still technically dual citizen, right?
Yeah, like the United States doesn't recognize that I'm a dual citizen, but I didn't like give up my citizenship in Dominican Republic. Gotcha. Like when I go home, I use my, like when I was going home to Dominican Republic, while it was still valid because it expired now, I would show that and I don't have to pay the tourist fee when I go through customs. So, I mean, it's $10, but $10 is $10. Like I'm not,
I got you.
If I can save the money, I'm going to save the money.
Hey, listen, if you can go in as a native, go in as a native.
Right.
So do you have like maybe like top 3 like places you've ever visited?
Morocco is there, and I think it holds a special place among the trips I've taken for a multitude of reasons. It's my first time to the motherland. Nice. So I brought home some dirt from Morocco. I don't care.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But it was your wedding. Like I was there for a specific reason, but the experience itself was amazing because I had to remind myself like, this is my first time in the motherland. Like touching the earth, and it's like you take it for granted, but I feel like I gotta go to more countries in Africa.
Hey, let's make it happen.
I have to, because it's like just to immerse yourself in the culture, see the differences, and understand that people make their livings in all types of ways. And I saw it in the Philippines. Like the guy who was pressed to go on the trip, he scheduled a hiking tour where we hiked to the top of the active volcano in the Philippines. Wow. Yeah.
That's dope.
Along the way, there were people selling water and Gatorade.
It reminds you of where?
Back home, right? But I feel like they have it worse because the Philippines only has 2 seasons: the dry season and the rainy season.
Oh wow! In
the rainy season, no one's hiking up a volcano.
You're right.
So these people got to make all their money in the dry season so that they're okay in the rainy season. But it's like similar to back home. Like these people live in shacks, but they have solar panels. Right. So they I'm like,
they got TV.
Right. We're going to live in a shack, but we're going to make sure we got Wi-Fi. Like,
hey, priorities.
Right. So, and I mean, it's different. Like one thing the Philippines has some of the freshest mango I've ever had in my life.
Hey, I got to go to the Philippines. So
like
anybody got a trip to the Philippines, holla at your boy trying to go.
Yeah. So, and then I know you travel and I feed off of your experiences. So I'm like, I watch what you post and I'm like, I need to go there. And I start making a list in my head. But to get back to your question, Morocco is definitely like top of the list.
So Morocco, Philippines. and then home? Or
home. I would put home before the Philippines just because home has a certain equity that you can't get anywhere else.
Right.
Like,
because everywhere else looks like home.
Boom. So, and I think that's like the. Can we curse?
Yeah, man.
That's the mind fuck. Sorry, that's the mind fuck of traveling and being from where we're from. Right? Is like Americans go to our countries for vacation.
Right.
But we go home.
Right.
Like, this is home. Like, this is not. I'm not on tour. I'm not going for the all inclusive. When I go home, I go home. I don't
go
have
to the countryside.
Right.
Now, when you go home different. You different. Your grandparents is.
They had bread, so
your grandparents is different.
Yeah, they were. The
rest of us
well
is going to
established
shacks and stuff like that.
I mean, it depends on what part of the family I'm visiting. So, because like my dad lives in Montecristi, which is northwest Dominican Republic, but like if you look at it on the map, I can like run to Haiti from where my dad lives, and I mean
plantains and come right back.
Right, and I mean that's why I have this beautiful skin tone.
Yep.
But like there are people who like, you're Northeast Haitian, like you're not Dominican. So, and I'm like, I'm not denying it. Like I love, like, you're one of my best friends and you're Haitian and we get along just fine. Right. And another one of my best friends is Haitian. I've dated Haitian women. Like, I don't have anything against Haitian people. I embrace the culture. And if I'm being honest, some of the food prepared the Haitian way.
Listen, don't cancel my Dominican brother here because he's speaking the truth.
I don't care. Can't nobody cancel me. Some of the food prepared the Haitian way tastes better.
And you know that's the crazy part. You mentioned that, right? It's like Dominican and Haitian food is almost the same thing.
Almost the same thing,
right?
Yeah.
Like we eat plantains kind of similar. Like y'all mashed plantains will puree it and make it a soup.
Yeah.
Y'all still do plantones, tostones.
Yeah.
You know. So that's kind of dope. So now, do you have a bucket list?
It changes as time goes on, because it's like when you think about traveling the world, just like when I think about my women friends, right? As black women, they have to be very careful about traveling alone. As black men, we don't have to worry about some of the things they worry about, but that doesn't mean we don't have to be careful, because racism is racism no matter what.
Right.
And you don't know how you're going to be received where you go. But I think the irony of it is a lot of the places that I would be on my supposed bucket list are places that I feel like would be safe for people of color. Interesting. So like Singapore. I want to go to Singapore. Singapore is like in my top 5.
Oh yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, Crazy Rich Asians made me want to
That's right. So like everybody wants to go to the Marina Bay Sands and get a selfie in the infinity pool.
Got to. I mean, I'm actually stay there.
Right. You know, I want to do that. Wait, when are you going?
I don't know.
All right, we're going to figure that out. But Singapore is like in my top 5. Bora Bora, but Bora Bora is like a vacation.
Shout outs.
Bora Bora is like a vacation. So that's not like, I can't hit you up and be like, dog, let's go to Bora Bora.
It has to be like a couple.
Right. Like I gotta be like, yo, tell Jackie we're gonna go to Bora Bora. And then it'll be, like you said, it's a couple's trip.
Gotcha.
But Bora Bora is up there. Samoa. I want to visit there. And just even thinking about visiting Samoa made me think about like getting back in touch with our roots from back home. Right. So like one thing I learned just doing research is the only people you hear like really brag about being Tainos is Puerto Ricans.
Right.
But if you look up like where Taino Indians were indigenous to, it's Puerto Rico, Cuba, our country, Jamaica, like any other islands in the Caribbean, they were Tainos or some subset of Tainos. So it's interesting to me. It's like we really all come from the same place. Right. But to your point, Dominican food, Haitian food, Cuban food, Puerto Rican food, Jamaican food, it's all pretty much similar. And then like the further south in the Caribbean you get, you just see more Indian influence. So that's why you get like people in Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana who use more of the curry, right? Exactly. So going to Samoa, you know, like, what's the one common thing everybody does? Everybody wants to get a tribal tattoo. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to get something that isn't representative of me. Like, I have no tie to French Polynesian people, to Samoan people. Right. So I started looking up our heritage, and I'm like, all right, we got some dope tribal shit too. So that's in the works. But Samoa, just to see the culture, just to see how it is, and it's just dope. Like, I would love to go to Samoa. I said Moscow at one point.
Listen.
And people were like...
Hopefully there's peace in Europe. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's like, you don't want to be like old girl that hopefully she gets off that's arrested for marijuana. Like, whatever.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. But, you know, like, I still want to see Russia, like certain part. Like, you want to experience the culture. Right. I think my biggest reservation with being heavy on the travel is just food. Like, I'm worried about them not having food I'm gonna like. Or
that's the thing about food is like I've learned to stay open. Right.
So it's not that I'm not open. It's just that like I'm
hungry.
I don't want to go hungry, but I also don't want to go to another country and just eat shit I can get back home.
But that's the fallback.
Yeah, right. So right. I don't want to fall back. I want to immerse myself in the food. But like when you do the research and you hear about some of the local delicacies, and it's like blood sausage, and I'm like, that's a hard pass. Sorry.
I feel you.
So just being mindful is all. I think we should all be that mindful. You know, like if you really want to experience the culture, you can't go into it and be like, oh, I'm not going to try that. For example, in the Philippines, one of their delicacies is called balut, and it's you eat a partially fertilized chicken egg. Mm. So like the beak is formed and everything, and you're just supposed to like crack it open and shoot it, and that's it. And I'm like, no. What was it? Thank you. I didn't try it. No.
Come on, man.
I didn't try it, and the people from there were like, you should try it. And I was like, have you tried it? And they were like, no. So why would I try it? You live here and you don't eat it, and you're telling me to try it? I'm not going to be the guinea pig.
Listen, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. So that's a pretty decent bucket list, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's constantly growing, depending on what things are.
Yeah, I think
I think you'll be able to hit a decent amount of those. And listen, you know, I'm always here for it.
No, yeah. And so that's what I was going to say. I think my bucket list of places to travel changed after going to Morocco. Because now I'm like, all right, now I got to go to Tanzania, Zanzibar.
I got you.
You know, like
things in the works. We got things in the works.
Yeah.
But so with that said, you talk about Morocco being one of like the top places that you visited, and once again, thank you for making it out and celebrating.
I wasn't gonna miss that.
As y'all know, this season's Voyage 22. Voyage 22 is literally the culmination of 22 cities that me and my wife has been to.
My wife, you heard that right? My wife.
Over the course of our relationship, which was a pandemic relationship. So that's like...
Yeah, that's kind of layers of complexity.
Right. And then last season, we interviewed a whole bunch of couples, and this is literally the culmination of that.
Nice.
And so... You know, I reached out and was like, yo, Nell, I'm getting married in Morocco. Was good.
No question.
What was your first thought?
I was like, I'm going. I feel like you told me, and I was like, I'm there. And I don't think you told me where it was. You were just like, wedding in April. And I was like, all right, I'm there. And then you told me, and I was like, I'm definitely there.
Those are the type of friends you need. You need the friends like how much, when.
Right. That's it. And even like, leading up to it, we were in sync with the planning. You were just like, yo, I'm gonna buy these flights today. And I was like, just tell me how much I gotta send you. And that was it. Like, and I love it. It's, you have to have people that you can seamlessly travel with. I don't need the back and forth, like if you gotta do a payment plan, get it how you live. But just travel with people you know are on the same type of time you're on. And I think because I'll wait to see.
Yeah, so we gonna step it up too. Because, you know, things, so you were originally supposed to go with somebody, right? And let's talk about that situation because, you know, this is when look, so let me give you a little background story. Right? So originally Jackie wanted to just be like, yo, let's just send this email to all of our friends. Hey, we're going to Morocco next year. Book your hotels and stuff like that. And I was like, look, I don't think it's going to fly with most of my friends. So especially if Muggs got already have things in plan, it's an expensive trip. Right. So I was like, look, let's tell them what it is and go from there. So we gave everybody about a year's notice.
That at least. I want to say it was a little more than a year, honestly.
Right. And so me being the tyrant that I was, we was like, all right, we need to lock in everybody's reservation by October 22nd. We was playing off the 22, so October 22nd.
I didn't even catch that.
Everybody needs to have their stuff in. Right. That was 6 months out.
Right.
And so you were trying to hold down a spot, and you was trying to hold down a hotel room. So at this point, me and Jackie had already locked down 3 rooms. And you get down to the wire, and you're like, yo.
I hit my boy up, and I was like, yo, the lady's asking, are we booking the room? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to put my deposit down. And then she asked me what was up with the person I was sharing the room with because they didn't put their deposit down. And I was like, I reached out, didn't get a response, and she said, all right, if it's just you, I got to change the rate for a single occupancy. And it went from like, can I say the numbers?
Yeah, it was like 1,000, like 2,000.
It went from like 1,200 to like 2 stacks. And I was like, time out. I got to pay 2 stacks to have this room by myself. And in my head, I'm like, I should just bring a date. But then you threw me the curveball of, yo, they could come, but they can't attend the dinner or the ceremony. And I was like, all right.
Plus, you taking a woman on a date, a wedding, not only like a wedding date, but a wedding date in Africa.
Boom.
That would have been setting a precedent.
Man, so that's sexy time shit. So I'm like, I'm not going to pay $2,400 to have somebody just be in the room the whole time. And not that she would have been in the room the whole time.
I mean, we
went out.
We encouraged it, but we were like, we let people slide.
Yeah, so. But I was like, nah, I'm going to just book a hotel room somewhere else. Right. And then she reached out, the planner, Stella, she reached out and she said, all right, somebody else wants to book the room. So if your friend isn't booking his part, then, do you mind giving up the spot for people who have full occupancy? I was like, give it to them, put my deposit towards the excursions.
Right.
And I was chilling. I was like, it's going to be a bit of a
it's gonna
weird.
It's going to be dicey. But,
right, I'm going to have
and then I came in with I was like, yo, I got an extra room. I got an extra spot for you and Pops. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. Yo, you was the real MVP, bro.
Because you said, you were like, you gonna have to share a room with Pops. And I was like, so? I
was like, he snores. You gotta help him to the bathroom.
He said his dad snores, and I'm like, I snore. So, I'm not worried about it. And, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was like, look, Pops, you're gonna kind of help him with a couple of things. And he was like, that ain't nothing.
Right.
I ain't gotta pay the full price for a room. I'm Gucci.
Right. I was like, in my head, me being a nigga, I'm like, discount. Why not?
And that was definitely clutch because you are officially. I don't think he even remembers your name. I think he knows your name. He just likes calling you my partner.
He says my partner. He doesn't say Nelson. He says, "What's my partner?" And I'm like, "I'm here. Like, what's up? Where we going?" Okay. So. I mean, it was a great experience either way.
So we get to the airport. So cheat code, everybody, cheat code. So from what was it, JFK?
Yeah.
So from JFK to Morocco,
you need to put like a exclamation point and everything.
So from JFK to Morocco, we had a wheelchair accessible situation where Pops was escorted to the front of the line. Every step of the way. Like we were supposed to have like a 2-hour layover. It don't even feel like it because every time we got somewhere, they picked them up from the gate
and went right along
to the next spot. And it was like, yo, It was
great.
super dope.
It was like we were VIP.
Yo, if you get a chance.
What do 8 bags of concrete mix, a cooler full of 30-pound sea bass, and a 10-inch compound miter saw have in common? They're all things that are easier to load in and out of the bed of the new F-150. Thanks to its new available Pro Access tailgate that's also a swing gate. The new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Available starting early 2024. Pro Access tailgate available starting spring 2024. Cargo and load capacity limited by weight and weight distribution.
Introducing Celebration Key, your key to paradise. Unlock Carnival's all-new exclusive destination at Grand Bahama, where you can dive into clear lagoons, try all the water sports, or unwind on a mile-long pristine beach with breathtaking sunset views. This vacation paradise has it all. Celebration Key, welcoming guests in summer 2025. Carnival, choose fun.
Copyright 2024 Carnival Corporation. All rights reserved. Ships registry: the Bahamas and Panama.
When it comes to teaching kids and teens about money, practice makes perfect. That's where Greenlight comes in. With a debit card and money app of their own, kids learn to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest. Parents send instant money transfers, create custom chores, and automate allowance, while kids track their spending, set savings goals, and practice money skills they can use today and for life. Get 1 month free when you sign up at greenlight.com/podcast.
You got a senior with you. Tell them, look, get this wheelchair, and like it's better, almost better than TSA.
Yeah, I would go as far. I was gonna say like it's giving Pre-Check a run for its money.
Yeah, it's something different.
Yeah,
and so we get on the flight. Pops is cool the whole way. Like I was concerned. I had him walking around just to make sure he got blood flow.
Man,
Pops was asleep
most of the time.
You know what I mean? And then we had a row to ourselves. So it was just me, you, and Pops.
Clutch.
So you mentioned getting to Africa and like touching the dirt.
Yeah.
Touching the earth.
Yeah.
Like, what was that experience like?
I wasn't gonna go as like usually some people like get there and they start kissing the ground. First of all, no, I'm not doing that.
Well, we didn't have a private
right. We didn't have like an airfield or nothing like that. Right. But even then, I still wouldn't have did that. Gotcha. But it was almost overwhelming to like take it all in and see like the culture, see the people, see like the disparity, and just like there were poor people, there were people with money. So it's like you see that the world is overall like the same in terms of like there are poor people everywhere, but it was overwhelming in a good way. It was like, this is so dope. Like I'm in, like I had to remind myself every morning. It was like, bruh, we're in Africa.
Yep.
And then I think what threw me off was I didn't realize how cold it was going to get at night.
And I was told them you didn't read the guide.
No, I read the guide.
So
this guy.
Jackie sent out a 30-page guide with color-coded days, with
that part I followed,
with dress attire, what to wear, what to bring, because it does, and then the temperature changes
a lot.
So yeah, you know, reading is fundamental. Most of the people we travel with usually provide you a little travel guide, travel kit, so that you guys know what's going on. So don't be like Nelson and read the travel kit when we send it to you.
Or just do whatever it is you do. Like,
gotcha.
It wasn't the end of the world.
That's why he was freezing in there.
I was not. I brought sweatpants.
Well, this is a man that sleeps with like 60-degree AC.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So for me, like me and Pops would sleep with the window open. And then because of where we stayed, I'm pretty sure we had the door open too. Like, well,
I don't think we ever closed the door.
We had the door open, and then we had the window open. And I remember because Aunt Wanda came in the window one time. Like, she came in the window and she was like, "Why is this window open?" I was like, "Oh, we needed the breeze." She scared the shit out of me. But I was like, we wanted the breeze, like we wanted the natural air. So we had the door open and it flowed through to the window, and it was perfect. Like,
now you mentioned the hotel, Janan Thompson.
Yeah.
Shout out to Marianne, to the Janan Thompson staff, the location. Like, what were your thoughts when we got there?
It's a dope ass location.
Because leading into it, like, and you know, I do mean to cut you off.
No,
but like leading into it, the bus veers off the beaten path, and we're like, yo, where they taking it?
I was like, this looks a little set up-ish. Like, this is the part of the movie where like the pickup truck with the 50 cal pulls up next to us like, get out. You're all going to like some camp. And then like you pull up and it was like, oh, all right. Because it's definitely off the beaten path for sure. But it's still dope. Like when you get in like and you actually tour the facility, it's like, yo, this is nice.
Yeah, she had 5. Did you visit all the villas?
No.
Oh, I visited all the villas.
I mean, I'm sure you did. I did not.
And each villa had its own pool, had its own setup.
We had a pool?
Yeah, we had a pool. Yeah, it's all good.
Oh, yeah. It was by where, yeah. Never mind. Yeah. Because it wasn't right outside the room.
Yeah, you know what it is? The first 2 days we stayed at the hotel. And
we did.
We pretty much just stayed in the room.
Because I remember getting there and they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to head to the Medina. And I was like, y'all are going to head to the Medina.
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep.
Yo. And
I spent like at least half that day taking a nap.
Yeah, that was a great day.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
After that travel. And shout out to, was it Air France or whoever we took?
Yeah.
Those little almond things?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah. Whew. That was clutch. Them snacks, snacks.
Yeah.
So you get to the hotel, we check in, we walk through Pops, through all this.
Right.
And so the next day is the dinner, right? It was the rooftop pre-situation.
That was dope.
You know what I mean? So like, what was your, like, and then it started with the rooftop and ended at Marianne's house.
Right.
So what was your experience like there?
The rooftop was dope. I'm mad we didn't get there earlier because I bought my shades. I was like, that first day I had my fit, I was like, I'm gonna wear contacts and I'm gonna put some shades on so we could catch some nice pictures. But by the time I got to the rooftop, the sun was already setting. So there were people who got some fire-ass pictures with the sunset. But it was still dope. Like the lighting, they had the bartenders like right there when you were walking in. So it was still a dope-ass ambiance. Like the way they set it up was fire. Just to have like that intro. And then when you guys got there, like it was hella dope. Just to have like that rooftop area was amazing. And then the dinner with like the whole like canopy with the lighting, that was, I think, like one of my favorite moments because it was, you have all these beautiful black people dressed to the nines in Arabian Nights theme. And like we eating food, we talking, and you get to meet people. It's dope because you get to interact with everybody because I didn't know everybody that was going. I might have known like 4 or 5 people through you. Like I didn't know a lot of Jackie's friends and I met them, I'm interacting with people. So for me, it was dope. I was like, this is the type of shit you want to do when you go on a trip with black folk. I mean, shout out to y'all for getting 50 black people to cross the Atlantic to come for a wedding. It wasn't easy. To me, that's like the biggest part. Like that's the biggest flex. It's like y'all got 50 people to cross the Atlantic.
It definitely wasn't easy. And you know what? It's a true testament to the fact that I think Jackie said, she said it best. This was God's guest list. Right? Yeah. In the sense that, like,
that's dope. I like that.
The people that attended were the people that were meant to be there. Because it's not like we didn't open it up to everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but yeah, so the dinner, then we lead over to Marianne's house. And
her house? Yeah, her house is it. Like, I wish I had a living room like that, first of all.
Like, that joint was fire. She curates all of that herself.
Right. And that's what was crazy is, like, you got time to host people and curate all of this. Like, that's, like, you're being a property owner. Like, you are taking... I think she took it to the next step. Like, if the next property owner ain't like this, like... Listen, you're getting a bad review. Yeah. I'm telling you right now.
It's got to be the way Marianne does it or no other way.
Yeah, it's quiet.
Luckily, her children are next in line to take care of it.
Right.
They seem
hopefully they keep it,
Yeah, hopefully they keep it going.
Yeah.
So the next day, we get married.
Yeah.
Right? So...
You get married.
Yeah. Me and Jackie. Jackie and I get married.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And, you got me and Pops getting ready. So you was there at the prep type of scenario.
And that was, and me, I'm like, I'm going to get fire ass pictures. I was like, this is content for the IG. Like, yes.
Yeah, man. And so we got Pops took a shot at Jameson.
That was funny.
Pops was like, yo, I need a little something spicy. Like, get me some spices. I was like, all
right, like he was trying to get activated. I was like, I'm with Pops. Like, let's go.
Pops was activated.
No breakfast, just straight shots.
Hey, listen. I mean, he was ready. He was up.
It was a big day.
So we go from there to the actual wedding, and now we're at the ceremony. Now, what did you think about? So our photographer, shout out to On the Run Images, Rick.
My boy.
Rick was like, yo, I think it would be dope if you told all the guests to kind of like either put their phones away or not to have it out.
Right.
Or collect it. I think we collected the phones.
So
some people chose not to give up.
Excuse me scratching my nose a lot. I don't know why I got an itchy ass nose. I promise you.
He doesn't do the substance.
No, I'm not on any substances. I think it's a dope aesthetic. I think it's fire to either ask. I mean, if we're grown. I feel like you can ask people to be respectful and keep their phones away. Taking the phones, cool. I mean, they ain't get my phone. Right. But taking the phones, I think, is dope in the sense that, like, I feel like social media has created this culture where it's like, you got to get a picture of everything. You got to record everything. I'm guilty of it too. Mm-hmm. But not having your phone out during the wedding forces you in a way to enjoy the experience, enjoy the moment. Like, you're in the moment. You can't, because you're not in your phone. Right. So you're enjoying what's happening for what it is. And I think that makes it that much better. And I've seen so many people do it after you guys. Like, I've seen weddings where people were like, oh, no social media, don't post stuff. And I'm like, this is actually kind of dope. Like, it's a dope trend. So, and then not only that, but it's your intimate moment with your lady, like, that you invited people to be a part of. So, like, don't disrespect it and have your phone out and go on Instagram Live and nothing like that. Like, for number one, everything isn't for social media.
You ain't never lie.
There's this false sense of like, oh, I follow you on social media, so I should know everything that's going on in your life. No, you don't. But I like that. Like, it made the moment more intimate. We shared that moment with y'all. Mm-hmm. And the only evidence of it is the video that On the Run. So I got to plug them in. That On the Run took. So you have that, and there's no other footage of it anywhere else. Well, you guys have the footage.
Just a correction. That was my footage.
Oh, my bad.
And so I got a little reprimanded by some of the guests. It was like, yo, it's your wedding. Stop producing your own wedding.
I mean, so, it's certain things you just don't trust somebody else to do. So you gotta leave the man to his own devices. You know, like, he does this, let him do it. I
was enjoying myself.
And I think it's a balance of, like, people were like, it's your day, like, you're not supposed to be doing it. But I'm like,
if nobody does it,
I'm not touching the camera equipment. Like, I'm staying in my lane. Like, I know what's going on. I know what I'm doing. It's me and Pops. We here. Yep. That's it. Like, I'm doing my job. So
yeah. So from there, you know, I had a nice little freestyle. You know what I'm saying?
But wait, like, you talking about when you was hopping?
No, freestyle. No, yeah.
I didn't get there. All right.
Talking about the vows. So, like,
bro.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know what I was gonna say till, like, that moment.
As your friend, Jackie got you, son.
Oh,
She had bars for your ass.
Yeah,
like,
she had them written down.
She wrote you a 4-page letter. Like, was. I was like, damn, my boy going out bad. Right? Like, like, I was like, yo, he's getting cooked right now. Hey, and the whole time she was talking, I was like, boy, you better say some shit. You better quote some 112 songs or something, because it's getting shaky right now.
Yeah, but yeah, man.
But it was beautiful. And I think, to your credit, while you ain't write no 4-page letter, Jackie, you still, what you said was from the heart. Right. And I think that, not saying that what Jackie wrote down wasn't from the heart, but you were you in true fashion. Mm-hmm. I think if you wrote something down, it wouldn't have been you being true to who you are.
Gotcha.
You did it in your way, and there's no other way you could have did it, right. In my opinion.
Yeah, because you see me walking around trying to figure out what to say.
Yeah, and I'm like...
Like, you know, the sand was in my eye. I had to go talk to Dad real quick.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Dad was there. Woo! Like, had everybody with sand in their eyes.
We gonna that little, you had that one moment, I was like, oh, you better get up. Like,
you know, but yeah, it was, so the thing is, it was like having Pops there was everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, yeah.
And given the journey to get that passport and the visa, and then keep in mind we didn't get to go to Paris.
Man, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
So we're going to talk about that.
All right, fine. We'll talk about it later.
We're going to talk about that later. But so we get through the wedding reception. Now, the reception we had decked out. We had the tagine. We had the drinks. We had the little glass bottles so that people could bring back.
That's what I put the dirt in.
So that was party favors so that people can bring back a little bit something closer to Africa for them. So, what was your thoughts about that?
I think that was dope. Like, that was a very thoughtful favor. That's what I put my dirt in. Like, but I made sure I went to, like, a part of the resort or the property that had, like, very fine dirt because I didn't want it to just be a bunch of rocks. So that's what I put it in. But I'm like, that's thoughtful. Like, that's dope. And I don't know if anybody else did that, but I know that, like, as soon as I saw the jar, I was like, they just did me a favor.
Because we have people that put like dirt, sand, they put spices in there.
I didn't even think about that.
They put like a whole bunch of stuff in there. So that was really like one of the interviews. She had like the ribbon it was tied in, some dirt, some sand, some spices, the petals. Because there was like rose petals all over the place.
Yeah.
So she put all that.
Who did that?
Forsey.
But always somebody trying to do the most.
Hey, listen.
But I respect it.
The Reds always do the most.
Oh, yeah, they do.
I love y'all, though. I love y'all.
He said that, not me.
So
love
the
y'all.
next day, we take people to the Medina, right? So now, you've been to the market in the Philippines. You've been to the market in Asia. Like, how was the Medina any different?
I liked it more.
Oh, really?
I think it gave you like that almost like the first scenes in Aladdin type of vibe. Like you just walking through the market, or like Indiana Jones. Like you walking through the market, you see all the vendors. I dropped the ball because one dude came up to me and was like trying to sell me a fake Rolex. And he was like 400 dirham. And I was like, no, like I'm not doing that. I did the math in my head and I was like, damn, it's actually not bad.
But you be rocking a Rolex.
I wasn't going to wear it. I was going to get it as a gag gift for my boy.
Oh, got you.
But I thought about it too late. So after the fact, I had asked Ralph, like, yo, if you see him, cop that and I'm going to send you the bread. But, like, it's almost like, so I'll tie it back to the trip to the Philippines. When we did the hike up the mountain, dude told me, he was like, yo, it's this much money. He said it straight up. He was like, this might be a scam. I don't know if it's real, but if the dude hits me up in the morning, we out. And in my head, like, I was like, I don't know if I want to hike up a mountain. And then I was like, but I had to have like that moment with myself. Like, when are you going to be back in the Philippines? When are you going to have another opportunity to hike to the top of an active volcano? So it's the same thing. Like, I should have used that same rationale. Like, yo, I'm in Morocco. Granted, I would go back, but I don't know when I'm going to go back. Right. So it's like, you have to make the most of it while you're there. So if it's anything that you're like second guessing and you're like, should I not? I'm not saying do that with everything. But certain things, if it's not going to like kill you, give it a shot.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously to your comfort level.
Right. So you definitely enjoyed yourself.
Oh yeah.
So
it was dope.
So that same day, well, earlier in the day, we had that hammam experience.
Yes.
Let's talk about, like, so for those of y'all that don't know, the hammam experience can be very intimate, right? And so they pair men with men, women with women, so that you're not, causing no problems. But what was that hammam experience like? Because you got your head rubbed.
Yes. So,
and your beard,
right? So it was funny because they were like, we go in and she was like, yeah, we got shampoo, this, that, and the third. And I'm sitting like, shampoo?
She's like, your beard.
And then she did it to my beard. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to shut up and let you do your job because you clearly know what you're doing. She shampooed my beard, washed my face. I was like, yo, I could get used to this. Like, this is different. Like, this is massage to the next level. Like, damn.
Massage.
Fam, like, sponge bathe me. That's dope. Like, that shit was fire. I was like, all right, we got to come back. Yeah. We got to do this again because...
So you did the Medina, did the Hammam, and then y'all went to the YSL Museum.
Yes.
All right. So the museum and the garden. So
right.
What was that like? Because I did it before. Personally, I didn't do the museum, but I did the garden. I think the garden was super dope.
Yeah. I mean, so I think the garden was nicer than the museum.
Okay. You're not like heavy into fashion.
It's not even about being heavy into fashion. I think it's like, when you say museum, I'm thinking it's going to be something with a lot of exhibits. And it was legit just like the one room with the news articles and like the pictures of Yves Saint Laurent. And then you go into the next room and that's where they have like all the designs. Like the fashion was dope. I'm not knocking the fashion at all, but that was it. You had the one room with like the pictures of the articles, the room with the articles of clothing, which were fire. Like, it was some pieces I was like, this will go good in my wardrobe. But after that, it was the gift store, and then they had like the theater where they gave you like a short movie, and that was it. So I was like, it's not a lot. Like, even the museum at the garden, I feel like was more...
Because it had multiple installations.
Right. Yeah, right. It had multiple things, so it was more in-depth look at things. But the garden was like where you need to get your pictures. Like some fire ass locations to get pictures in the garden. I mean, it's a garden, so yeah. But it was like some, like, shout out to Nick. Nick got some dope ass pictures of me. Like, I'm still using them right now. Like, I'm like, nah, Nick definitely got some fire pictures of me in the garden. And like, I think the garden was like the dopest part for me. Not taking, like, if you're there, definitely go to the YSL Museum. But I definitely enjoyed the garden more.
Okay. So now, pretty much trip is ending. We were supposed to go. So this is the part where Nelson's a little upset. So we had 19-hour layover in Paris. Now
you gotta start from the beginning. We're gonna have a layover in Germany.
Right. Originally, we were going to have a layover like in Germany where we were going to go to like the BMW museum and stuff like that. Like, Pops is heavy into driving. Nelson is heavy. Nelson's a BMW owner. Pops always wanted like one of those flashy cars. So I was like, look, worst case scenario, we get a BMW, drive Pops in the car. Listen. And he'd be like, yo, I was in the BMW.
We could have been on the Autobahn. Right. We would have went to the museum. But COVID
happened. So they canceled the flight that was going from Munich to Morocco.
Right.
And so our follow-up flight was
France.
So on the way back, we were supposed to go to France.
And have a layover.
Have a 19-hour layover.
So
unfortunately,
me being me, I'm like, all right, well, we got to get some shots by the Eiffel Tower. We got to get like some boomerangs or some visuals.
We had a whole
so we could line them up with niggas in Paris playing in the background.
Yep, we had a whole hop on situation.
Yeah, like, it was gonna be dope.
It was gonna be lit, but all right, me and I put this on me, and this is one of my tips. Make sure you understand your group. Your audience is gonna dictate the way you move around the world. Unfortunately, I misread Dad's requirements to get in and out of France. So as long as Dad was in the airport, we were fine.
Right.
But he couldn't get out of the airport, which he needed another visa. So this is why the France-Haiti relationship is the worst. So as a Haitian citizen, he doesn't automatically get into France.
Which I think is corny as hell.
Whatever job you need to do out there, grab the right tool to get it done. The new F-150 with an available hybrid engine and up to 7.2 kilowatts of Pro Power on board to power things on the go. It's not a tool you'll hang in a tool shed, but you can certainly use it to build one. The new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Available starting early 2024. Optional features, the owner's manual for important operating instructions.
What makes a Carnival cruise fun? That's up to you. Maybe it's a ride on boat, a roller coaster at sea, or a deep tissue massage at the spa. Creole-inspired cuisine at Emerald's Bistro to laid-back bites at Guy's Burger Joint. Excursions that take you from jungle adventures to beach stays at Mahogany Bay and sunsets from the top deck. Long story short, no one does fun like Carnival. Carnival, choose fun.
Ships Registry, Bahamas, Panama.
When it comes to teaching kids and teens about money, practice makes perfect. That's where Greenlight comes in. With a debit card and money app of their own, kids learn to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest. Parents send instant money transfers, create custom chores, and automate allowance, while kids track their spending, set savings goals, and practice money skills they can use today and for life. Get 1 month free when you sign up at greenlight.com/podcast.
It's, it is what it is.
But
So luckily, shout outs to Delta/Air France for the last minute change with no additional fee. So we got all 3 flights switched out now. Instead of going to France, I think we went to like Detroit.
yeah, so we were supposed to have the layover in France and then go straight to New York.
Right.
They switched the flight, so we didn't have that big of a layover. But instead of going to New York, we went to Detroit for 3 hours.
And then back to New York.
Right,
So,
which is crazy because we passed New York.
listen, I was just
But
trying
I was
to make sure
like,
we got home.
Whatever. It is what it
19 hours
is.
in the airport was gonna
Yeah, that was going to be a haze.
Yeah,
and then even like the flight to Detroit, we got lucky because we got the center 3 seats and we got them right where the separator was. So we had, we had mad leg room.
And these 2 are short, so leg room is important.
Oh yeah. So I was lounging, watching movies. Like I was chilling. It was a tough ass 8 hours, but it would have been a lot tougher had we been crammed behind some tight spaces or whatever. So
earlier you mentioned traveling the world. Let's not forget that there are racism in different shapes and forms. So a lot of people would see you as Black before they see you as Latino.
Right.
And so what has traveling while Black, Latino, or Afro-Latino been for you?
Yeah, I think it's been fine. I think the biggest part of it is and what most people don't know is English is my second language. So even though I came here when I was 3.5, I grew up speaking Spanish and then I learned English when I started getting an education here. Okay. So I still to this day I do not speak English with my parents. And it's not because I don't want them to learn. It's just it's one of those things where it's I don't know you in this language. I grew up with you speaking Spanish. Speak what I know you to speak.
Got you.
And I mean, I didn't realize how much of a benefit it is to me because now I retain the language. So it wasn't I was thinking no, keep speaking in Spanish to me because I'm going to use Spanish later on. It was I don't know you in English, so don't talk to me in English.
Listen, Nelson is about to be my translator to every Spanish-speaking country.
So
if you need to borrow a Nelson, please hit me up at Hit me up at Atomic Travels. He's your Black friend / Dominican friend.
Right.
They can't tell the difference.
Right.
He's your Dominican friend that will translate all things Spanish and hopefully some Portuguese in the future.
So that's why it's interesting. Going to Mexico or even Costa Rica, we went on an excursion when we were on ATVs. And I got into an accident on the ATV and it got messed up. And then we got back to the garage and I could hear them in Spanish talking about get them to pay for the repairs while we're sitting in a warehouse full of ATVs. So I hear them, they don't know I speak Spanish. So when they came up to try to tell us, I was no, what you're not going to do is X, Y, and Z in Spanish. And they were oh, and I'm you're not going to play me because you think that you're going to exploit us because we're from another country. So it's they didn't expect me to be brown and speak Spanish. In Mexico was a lot, I love Mexico. Mexico was a lot nicer. And I don't think we had to deal with any racism or anything. I think it was funnier because they would ask me questions to clarify. So right. So it was all inclusive. I sat down, I'm looking at the menu and the whole left side of the menu was 15 different types of tacos. And I was yeah, let me get this whole side. And he was
you had 15 tacos?
He's you want one of each? I said, yes. Give me one of each, this whole side of the menu. And he did that. Fire. Yeah. Because they're not big tacos. They're small.
Oh, they're small.
Yeah. So I ate all of them. And then I was and this would throw him off. I was let me get 3 more of this one. And he was all right. And then I ate it all. But I think in Mexico, we never dealt with anything like that. I think the only thing I would say is just be mindful of the people who are going to try to sell you timeshares when you're in Mexico or anywhere else. But I experienced it both times I was in Mexico, where they were like, you got to sit through a presentation. And then, sit through the presentation, but just know you don't have to say yes.
Right,
If you're not someone who travels a lot and isn't going to take advantage of the timeshare, just say no.
So do you feel like we've had conversations like outside of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you were the darkest within your family,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, is that something that because of your complexion, sometimes people mislead that you may not be Spanish?
Yeah.
Or like they
all
check
the
your
time.
Spanish card?
All the time.
Really?
Like my friends in college, I have friends to this day that didn't know I was Hispanic until like 6 months into knowing me.
Oh,
like we happened to be chilling and my phone rung and it was my mom. And I told you I don't speak English with my mom.
Carmen does not speak English.
I'm answering the phone and I'm like, talking Spanish, and like everything stopped and they turned around and they were like, what just happened? And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, you just spoke Spanish. I'm like, did you guys not know I was Dominican? And
Tavares is not a...
Right. I mean, but it's like you don't go out of your way to know people's last names in college.
Right.
But they were like, since when? And I'm like, since forever. Like, I'm Dominican. I was like, what did you think I was? And then like, I went to school on Flatbush. So I went to school with nothing but West Indians. Like my closest friends were Jamaican and Trini. I had some Guyanese friends, a lot of Haitian friends. So like my Haitian friends weren't shocked, but like the rest of my Caribbean friends were like, we thought you were like Cooley. We thought you were like Trini or Jamaican. Like you weren't, we didn't know. Cause like in college I had hair. So my hair was like very, like if my hair grew out, it got curly. I looked like a fucking reggaeton singer. Like,
okay.
Right. But I always kept a short Caesar. So nobody knew. And everybody was just like, oh yeah, he's from backyard or some shit like that. So they didn't know. Then they found out. And then one of my boys was like, bro, I've been taking Spanish this whole semester. You could have been helping me out. And I was like, I didn't know. Like, I just assumed that you guys knew I spoke Spanish. But
I mean, it's not easy to, because like, I'm trying to think how long it took me to realize you, like, I usually ask questions. So that's probably why I knew up front.
Right.
That's interesting because it's like a lot of times when I speak Creole in front of people, there's a look that looks Haitian. You don't look Haitian. Right? And I was like, you didn't realize there are people that look like Nelson that speak more Creole than I do.
Right.
And then that same person will flip the language and speak Spanish without a doubt.
Better than I do. Right.
And so it's crazy because like you'll go to the DR, you're on the beach, and somebody's trying to sell you a massage. She sells it like as dark as me. She sells you to like try to sell it to you in Spanish, then the little broken English.
Right.
And she finds out in Haitian, oh, cousin. I'm like, oh, now I'm cousin, huh?
Right,
okay,
right.
I see you.
And I think that like that's what it is like they'll try to sell me something, and then when I talk in Spanish, they'll be like, hey, primo, da, da, da. And I'm like, you don't got to do all that. Like, I understand you're trying to make a living. I understand this is how you make your money. Respectfully, I don't want a massage, but I'll give you a tip. Like, I'll give you something, but just don't try to run a game on me. And then it's like, you got to take that with a grain of salt, too. Like, you can't be mad at people who are trying to make a living for trying to hustle.
Right.
So you got, like I said, you gotta take it for what it is.
Yeah.
Like, even like in Morocco, when we were in the Medina, that one night we had to run. Ralph took us to Old Boy to buy me like the indigo turban, and dude was like haggling, going back and forth with Ralph. And I get it. Like, I wasn't mad at him, but it's like, you got to find that fine line, because it's like, we want to haggle so we get a deal. But at the end of the day, this is how this person is making their living. Right. So we don't want to, they're not going to try to let us get away with it like, we don't know what it costs them to manufacture it, but they obviously want to be able to bring food home to their families.
So I'm glad you bring that up, because I wanted to ask you, and I just forgot to ask, like, do you think, so we went to Marrakesh during Ramadan. Do you think that had an impact on our experience? Or you didn't even notice?
I think it did.
Okay.
I think it did because, like, timing-wise, like, these people are fasting all day. And then the sun goes down, they get to eat with their families. But then it's like, they're, like, even, like, for example, the dude we went to go buy the turban from, like, The sun went down, he ate, he opened up shop right away. Like, he doesn't get a break even during Ramadan. Like, he ate, and then essentially, like, that overnight time when the sun is down, like, that's the only time he gets to eat. But he has to go back to his shop and still make a living. So I think, like, I'm not saying that he would have gave us a better deal. But I think that we got a different experience because it's like, if I don't eat for an hour and I'm hungry, I'm gonna have an attitude.
Right.
And I get it. It's part of their religion. They do it, but that doesn't mean that it's not a test of your will, your patience, and who you are. So I'm not saying that people were rude to us, but I feel like we would have gotten a different vibe from the people and just seen different interactions from the people were it not Ramadan. Like even the customs agents, I feel like they were giving us attitudes about stuff. And I'm like, bro, it's not my fault you're fasting. Like, I get it, but you chose this. Like, why you mad at me? Like, I'm literally like, you see my passport. There's no stamps on it, so clearly I've never been here before.
Right.
Calm down. Like, relax.
So, overall, like, we've all come out of, we outside now. What does your new normal look like? I mean, you got a new job, so that's
And I feel like I get spoiled with it because my new job is, even though it's based out of Virginia, it's all remote. And because they're licensed to do business in New York, I don't have to move to Virginia yet.
Nice.
So the new normal, like, I think from the pandemic, a lot of us, the new normal is working remote. And I think the problem for a lot of these companies is justifying to people coming back into the office when we just did our jobs from home for the last 2 years, efficiently at that.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to like convince people. And I'm like, forget like people like us. I'm talking about like older people who have like kids and families. It's like during the pandemic, they worked from home. They didn't have to pay for childcare. They got used to the fact that they could close their laptop, turn around and enjoy their families. So you want these people to give that up and essentially take on a bill that you're not paying because now they got to go back to paying for childcare. And on top of paying for childcare, you have to weigh the fact that you want to put your child in childcare in an environment where like COVID is still a thing. So you run the risk of sending your child to childcare. They get sick. They bring it back home. Now you're sick. Now you got to take time off of work. And I think some people I knew were saying that their jobs told them if you get COVID, you have to use your sick time. So I was like, that doesn't sound right. But I think for like the new normal for a lot of people, and I think in certain ways it's empowering to us as the workforce, where it's like we're not settling for anything less than what we know we can get. So it's like, we're going to work from home. You're going to allow me to work from home. And if you don't, cool. I'm going to find a company that's going to allow me to work from home and potentially even pay me more than you're paying me. So it kind of gives us, in my opinion, it gives us, the people of the workforce, a little bit of leverage when it comes to negotiating what we will and won't do work-wise.
Gotcha.
And I love that for us because for a long time, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but for a long time, we were at the job's mercy. Like, they know they're underpaying us, but where we gonna go? We still got bills to pay. And a lot of us are not in position, especially like being Black, being immigrants, we come from a background where it's like, we don't have a lot, so we're working from behind. So getting back into a footing where it's like, me and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you and I had never been in a space where we could be like, I'm gonna just quit this job. I'll be good without a job for a year.
No, not yet.
No. Like, so it's like we have the shackles of like, we have people depending on us. Right. We can't just give up a job or give up a paycheck because we're not there yet. Are we working towards getting there? Absolutely. And I think like, for me, the dopest thing about this last year is like, you got a new job. I got a new job. Jeff got, like, everyone I know is leveling up. They're getting new jobs. They're getting degrees. Like, I love that for me in my circle. Like, we are elevating ourselves. We are trying to cultivate a lifestyle outside of work, with travel, with whatever that makes us happy.
Right.
And
that's important. And
it is super important. And it's I like that we're prioritizing that. Like, being happy, being able to do what we want. And I tell people that, like, the last last week I had a meeting at work where they asked like, what motivates you? And a lot of people were like, oh, you know, being part of the team, this, that, and the third. And I was like, compensation. Like she added, like it was like a bar and it was like compensation. And I put like all the way, like if I could have went further right, I would have went further right. Cause I'm like, compensation. I'm like, we got to be real. We work for what we're getting paid, but we work so that we can enjoy the lifestyle we create for ourselves outside of work. So if I'm going to get a job that pays me more money, I'm not thinking about it from like, oh, I get to stack my bread. Like, yeah, I get to stack my bread, but I get to enjoy myself outside of work. I get to do the things I want. So that when you hit me up and you're like, yo, we out to Zanzibar, yo, we out to Prague, I can be like, let's go. Like,
say less.
And that's what you're trying to cultivate is the lifestyle you live outside of work. And that obviously is going to look different for everybody because people with families is like, I want to be able to spend time with my family and not have to worry about work. Or I want to be able to travel with my family. Like there's some people who do that. So I just think like the new normal for us for sure is just working from home, knowing our worth is a big thing and just not settling. Like, somebody out there is going to give you what you expect and not think twice about it. So go for it.
Facts. I mean, shit, you just dropping jewels and stuff like that. Since you're dropping jewels, like, let's get 3 travel tips for somebody that's trying to get off. So, you know, for those of you that were listening and stayed on,
this whole time, right?
We talked about being a road runner for his chapter, right? Where they move around and they visit chapter to chapter, which allowed them to see the United States. One way of traveling is literally leaving your neighborhood. Like, just start as simple as that.
Right.
What are some tips that you would get?
Don't be afraid to travel. Don't be afraid to go. Don't be afraid to try new stuff. I think being open, like to your point, like be open to it. Don't go to another country and just automatically write stuff off because it's not something you would normally do.
Gotcha.
Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your norm, I think is a big thing. Like, just don't be afraid to try new stuff is number 1. I think number 2 would just be find your travel tribe. I think that's huge because too often, like, you see people who they'll go on a trip and then like every trip, I feel like if it's just like a random amalgamation of people that just get thrown together, it's like you got that one person that's like, oh, we have an itinerary. We're going to do this, that, and the third. One of the best things about the trip to Morocco is that day we got there, they were like, we're going to the Medina. And we were like, we're not. And I got to sleep. Like, having an itinerary is cool, but being able to pick and choose what you want to participate in, I think makes the world of difference. Like a lot of times people are like, oh, you came on vacation to sleep. Vacation looks different for everyone. Yes, I absolutely came to sleep. I came to sleep, eat, and take fire pictures. That's what I came on vacation for. Like, I didn't come to be like on a schedule from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to sleep. Like, no, I want to be able to enjoy I took a picture outside of you and Jackie's room. I was sitting on one of the couches. I was looking at the sun and I was just like, and I took the picture because it was a dope ass view. I was chilling. The sun was beaming on me. I had God's filter hitting me. I was like, this is dope.
When
like,
the sun hits, you got to take a shot.
Yeah, like you have to. So it's like, don't be afraid to try new stuff. Find your travel tribe. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Like, find people who are going on the trips for the same reasons you are. Or not, if not the same reasons, but who are just going to enjoy the trip for what it is. Right. And then I guess the last one is just do it as often as you can. Like, time is a currency we can't get back.
Facts.
And the truth is like, we don't know when we're going to be gone. So just don't try not to regret anything. Live in the moment. Life is a delicate balance of planning for the future and YOLO. Yeah. And I've clearly been more of the YOLO.
As recent.
But I don't regret it. I don't.
Like, I mean, it's true. You do only live once. And, you know, we definitely need to make sure that we take time for ourselves and our mental wellness. Our personal peace. Right. You will find Nelson on the State of the Black Man's Mental Health. He be dropping jewels.
And I think to your point, like my dog Marcus said, we got to stop acting like we get to live twice.
Facts.
And that's all I can leave you with. Like, just do what makes you happy.
All right. Well, with that said, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, hit that notification bell so you guys know when we drop new episodes. So with that being said, again, travel more, stay safe, peace.
Be blessed.
Whatever job you need to do out there, grab the right tool to get it done. The new F-150 with an available hybrid engine and up to 7.2 kilowatts of Pro Power on board to power things on the go. It's not a tool you'll hang in a tool shed, but you can certainly use it to build one. The new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Available starting early 2024. Optional features, the owner's manual for important operating instructions.
What makes a Carnival cruise fun? That's up to you. Maybe it's a ride on boat, a roller coaster at sea, or a deep tissue massage at the spa. Creole-inspired cuisine at Emerald's Bistro to laid-back bites at Guy's Burger Joint. Excursions that take you from jungle adventures to beach stays at Mahogany Bay and sunsets from the top deck. Long story short, no one does fun like Carnival. Carnival, choose fun.
Ships Registry, Bahamas, Panama.
When it comes to teaching kids and teens about money, practice makes perfect. That's where Greenlight comes in. With a debit card and money app of their own, kids learn to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest. Parents send instant money transfers, create custom chores, and automate allowance, while kids track their spending, set savings goals, and practice money skills they can use today and for life. Get 1 month free when you sign up at greenlight.com/podcast.